Chapter 1. The last chosen died screaming. I press my back against the cold iron gates, breathing in the stench of charred flesh and lightning. The arena stretches before me, a pit of blood-stained sand and jagged black rock. 7 dragons prowl its edges, their scales drinking in the dawn light. Riven of House Dain. The proctor's voice booms across the silent crowd. Step forward. My fingers find the dagger at my belt, my father's last gift, its hilt worn smooth from years of restless fingers. Useless against what comes next. The choosing ceremony has begun. Across the arena, Kale flashes me a grin. His armor gleams, the silver inlay catching fire as the largest dragon, a monster with spines like shattered swords, unfurls its wings behind him. Pray to the 6 gods, little lord, he calls, voice dripping with amusement. You'll need it. I don't answer. My eyes track the dragons instead. They're restless today. The black one snaps at a boy who ventures too close, reducing his shield to molten slag. The crowd gasps. The proctors don't move. This is how it's always been. Touch a dragon. Survive its wrath. Become a rider. Or die. I step forward. Sand shifts beneath my boots, each grain grinding like broken teeth. The dragons turn as one, nostrils flaring. They smell fear the way sharks smell blood. I force my hand steady. A shadow falls across me. The smallest dragon, a scarred, rust-red beast missing one horn, blocks my path. Its golden eyes burn into mine. Ancient, intelligent, hungry. Vermithrax. The crowd murmurs. Even the proctors lean forward. Because Vermithrax isn't just any dragon. He's the one who killed the last chosen. The dragon exhales, smoke curling from his nostrils. I don't move. Don't blink. Then, he strikes. I roll left, but not fast enough. Claws graze my ribs, shredding leather and skin. Hot blood soaks my tunic. Behind me, Kale laughs. Not so proud now, are you? Vermithrax's chest rumbles. Not a growl. A chuckle. The sound slithers into my skull, oily and wrong. Dragons don't speak. Not to humans. Not ever. Yet his voice is unmistakable. You smell of lies, he whispers, tongue flicking out to taste my blood in the air. I like that. The arena holds its breath. I wipe my mouth with the back of my hand. Is that all you've got? Vermithrax stills. Then, he laughs, the sound like grinding bones. Touch my scales, little liar. He lowers his head, breath scorching my face. Let's see if you burn. I don't hesitate. My palm meets his snout. Fire erupts in my veins. The bond sears through me, brighter than agony, deeper than blood. Visions flash. A war older than kingdoms. A crown of dragonbone. A betrayal that shattered the sky. The dragon's name tears from my throat. Vermithrax. The crowd erupts. The proctor stumbles back, face pale. Only Kale understands. His smile dies. Because the ceremony isn't over. And Vermithrax never chooses twice. Chapter 2. First Blood. The arena's silence shatters like thin ice beneath my boots. A cacophony of gasps and shouted questions erupts from the stands, but the sound seems distant, muffled by the roaring in my ears. My fingers tremble where they press against my ribs, coming away slick with blood that shines black in the morning light. Vermithrax exhales a stream of smoke that curls around my legs. Well, his voice slithers through my mind like oil on water. Are you going to faint, or shall we leave this pit of gawking monkeys? I bare my teeth in something too sharp to be called a smile. You clawed me. A love tap. The dragon rumbles, golden eye rolling with deliberate disdain. You'll live. Probably. The scrape of steel on stone makes me turn. Kale approaches, his sword drawn, the blade catching the dawn light like a sliver of ice. His usual smirk is absent, replaced by something colder, more dangerous. That's not possible, he says, voice low. The tip of his sword lifts to hover at my throat. Vermithrax doesn't bond. Not since he burned the last chosen alive 3 years ago. Behind me, the dragon shifts, his scales rasping against stone. I don't need to look to know his teeth are bared. Apparently, I say, keeping my voice steady despite the blade at my neck, he's changed his mind. Vermithrax exhales a stream of fire that melts the sand at Kale's feet into glass. Sheath your steel, boy, unless you'd like to wear it as molten jewelry. For a heartbeat, Kale doesn't move. Then, with deliberate slowness, he lowers his sword. But his eyes, those winter blue eyes, remain locked on mine, promising violence deferred, not abandoned. This isn't over, he murmurs, so softly I almost miss it beneath the proctor's horn blast. Riven of House Dain, accepted. The infirmary smells of charred flesh and bitter herbs. I hiss as the healer's needle pulls another stitch through my torn skin. Hold still, the old man grumbles, his fingers surprisingly steady despite their gnarled appearance. Across the tent, Kale leans against a support post, arms crossed over his chest. The sunlight streaming through the canvas walls stripes his face with alternating bars of gold and shadow. You're dead, he says conversationally, as if commenting on the weather. Vermithrax kills his riders. The last one lasted 3 days before he burned her to ash. The healer's hands falter. I grin, sharp as the needle in my side. Jealous, Kale? His answering smile is a blade wrapped in silk, just saving the mortician the trouble of guessing your cause of death. A sudden darkness fills the tent entrance. Vermithrax's massive head pushes through the flap, his horns scraping against the canvas. Enough prattling, Dain, he growls, the words vibrating in my bones. Mount up. We've work to do. The flight to Blackcliff Academy steals my breath. Wind screams past my ears as Vermithrax's powerful wings carve through the clouds. Below us, the land unfolds like a tapestry, emerald forests giving way to jagged cliffs, until at last the obsidian spires of Blackcliff rise from the mountainside like broken teeth. They'll try to kill you, Vermithrax rumbles, the sound traveling up through his spine where my hands grip tight. The proctors, the other cadets, especially that pretty rival of yours. I lean into the wind, letting it dry the sweat on my brow. Why? The dragon banks sharply, his laughter shaking my bones. Because I chose you, he says, as we plunge toward the yawning academy gates. And dragons never choose without reason. Blackcliff waits below, its shadowed arches and bone-lined halls hungry for new blood. For me. Chapter 3, The Cursed One. The moment my boots touch Blackcliff's courtyard, the whispers begin. Cadets in black training leathers stop mid-spar to stare. A group of third years by the armory freeze, their hands hovering over sword hilts. Even the wind seems to hold its breath as Vermithrax's shadow drapes us all in darkness. Pathetic, the dragon murmurs, his breath stirring the dust at my feet. They fear what they don't understand. A broad-shouldered man with a silver-chased baton shoves through the crowd. His left eye is milky white, the scar that took it running clean to his jaw. Riven Dain. His voice could frost fire. I'm Proctor Varric. You'll address me as sir. I open my mouth. Vermithrax's tail slams down between us, cracking stone. She'll address you as corpse if you block our path again. The courtyard goes dead silent. The dormitory stinks of sweat and old blood. Your bunk. Varric kicks open a cell-like door. Armory at dawn. Mess hall at 7th bell. Fail to appear, and I'll let the cadets use you for spear practice. He leaves me standing in a room barely large enough to turn around in. A pallet of straw, a chest for belongings, a single narrow window overlooking the training yards, where even now, cadets hack at straw dummies with brutal efficiency. A shadow blocks the light. Still alive, Dain? Kale lounges in the doorway, spinning a dagger across his knuckles. Disappointing. I toss my pack onto the pallet. Miss me already? He flicks the dagger. It embeds in the wood between my fingers. Vermithrax's last rider screamed for 3 days before she died. They say her bones still smolder in the western courtyard. I pull the blade free, testing its balance. You're not half as scary as you think you are. Kale's smile doesn't reach his eyes. Wait until you see what the dragon does to you. The nightmare wakes me screaming. Fire. So much fire. A woman's voice begging in a language that cracks like burning wood. Vermithrax's roar shaking the sky. Enough. The dragon's voice in my head jolts me upright. My small room is dark, the window showing a sliver of moon. Sweat soaks my tunic. You saw her, Vermithrax growls. Not a question. I drag a hand down my face. The last rider. Stone groans as the dragon shifts his weight against the barracks wall outside. Her name was Lyria. She was weak, you are not. Then why show me her death? Moonlight glints on a single massive eye pressed to my window. Because you need to understand what happens to those who fail. Dawn finds me in the armory, buckling on practice leathers still stiff with someone else's blood. Cadets give me a wide berth, all except a freckled girl who slams a practice sword into my chest. Taryn. She grins, all sharp edges. Heard you like playing with fire. Before I can answer, a horn blares. Varric stands on the overlook, baton tapping his palm. First trial begins now. Survive the gauntlet, or wash out. Below us, the training yard transforms. Cadets drag away straw dummies, revealing pits of glowing coals, walls studded with blunted spikes, and at the center, a cage. Inside, a scaled creature the size of a warhorse snarls. Its wings are bound with iron chains, but the claws look plenty sharp enough to kill. Drakenhound, Vermithrax murmurs in my mind, nasty temper. Don't let it bite you. Kale appears at my shoulder, his breath warm against my ear. Guess who it's hungry for? The hound's yellow eyes lock onto mine, and the cage door swings open. Chapter 4, The Gauntlet. The Drakenhound's chains hit the dirt with a thunderous clang. For one frozen heartbeat, the training yard holds its breath. The creature's nostrils flare as it scents the air. Blood, sweat, fear. Its spine tail lashes once, twice. Then it charges straight for me. I barely roll clear as talons shred the ground where I stood. The hound whirls, muscles coiling beneath scales the color of tarnished copper. Saliva drips from its fangs, smoking where it hits the dirt. Poison, Vermithrax's voice growls in my skull. One scratch and you'll burn from the inside out. Cheers erupt from the watching cadets. Kale leans against the fence, arms crossed, looking unbearably pleased. Taryn tosses me a practice sword. Try not to die, Dain. The hound lunges again. Steel meets scale with a shower of sparks. My arms shudder from the impact as I barely deflect a swipe that would have opened my throat. The hound recoils, shaking its massive head, then strikes low, going for my legs. I leap onto its back. The crowd roars. The hound screams, bucking like an unbroken stallion. My thighs clamp around its heaving ribs as I grab one of the iron chains still dangling from its wings. The neck, Vermithrax commands. I loop the chain around the beast's throat and pull. The hound rears, choking. We crash into the fence, splintering wood. Kale jumps back, his smirk finally slipping. Yield. Varric's voice cuts through the chaos. I don't let go. The hound's thrashing weakens, its eyes roll white. Just as its knees start to buckle, a boot slams into my ribs. Kale's face appears above me, twisted in fury. I said you wouldn't last a day. His dagger flashes down. A roar shakes the sky. Vermithrax's tail smashes through the training yard fence, sending Kale flying. The dragon's massive head swings low, teeth bared inches from my rival's face. Mine, he snarls. Silence. Even the Drakenhound whimpers, pressing its belly to the dirt. Varric steps forward, baton raised. Stand down, beast. Vermithrax's laugh sends cadets scrambling back. Make me. The standoff lasts 3 heartbeats. Then the proctor lowers his baton. Trial complete. Dain passes. As the crowd disperses, Kale pushes to his feet. Blood trickles from his nose, but his smile is back. You can't hide behind your monster forever. I wipe dirt from my mouth. Watch me. Vermithrax's wing shadows us as we walk away. You fight like a cornered fox, he muses. It's almost admirable. Almost. The dragon's teeth gleam. Next time, aim for the eyes. Chapter 5, Blood and Bone. The Blackcliff bell tolls midnight as I press a stolen whetstone to my dagger. 3 days since the gauntlet. 3 days of Kale's venomous stares, Proctor Varric's special training drills, and Vermithrax's infuriating commentary. The stone rasps against steel in rhythm with the dragon's breathing, where he's coiled around the barracks like a scaled sentinel. "You're grinding that blade to dust," he murmurs in my skull. I thumb the edge, still dull. "And you're crushing the west tower." Stone groans as he shifts his bulk. "They built it in my way." A shadow detaches from the alley below. Taryn moves like smoke between the moonlit training dummies. She pauses beneath my window, a loaf of bread clutched to her chest. "Hungry, Dain?" The bread is still warm when I catch it. "Poison. Not this time." She grins, hauling herself up to sit on the ledge. "Though Kale did slip something nasty into your rations yesterday. Gave it to one of the proctor's hounds instead." She mimics an explosion with her hands. "Messy." I break the bread in half. "Why help me? Maybe I like watching arrogant princelings fail." She nods toward the courtyard, where Kale trains alone, his sword a silver blur. "Or maybe I know what really happened to Lyria." The bread turns to ash in my mouth. Vermithrax's tail tightens around the barracks. "Careful, girl." Taryn doesn't flinch. Lyria wasn't weak. She discovered something in the bone library, something about the choosing. Next morning, Vermithrax burned her alive. The dragon's growl shakes the walls. "Lies." But his denial comes too slow. Taryn drops to the ground, tossing a final comment over her shoulder. "Ask him where riders go during the blood moon, Dain. If you dare." The silence stretches like a noose. I wait until Taryn's footsteps fade before rounding on Vermithrax. "Explain." Moonlight glints off his massive eye, where it peers through my window. The girl spins tails. "Then why kill Lyria?" Stone cracks as he tenses. "I didn't." The truth hits like a dagger between ribs. "But you know who did." Vermithrax exhales a stream of smoke that curls around my throat like a warning. "Some secrets burn those who touch them." Dawn finds me in the armory again, buckling on leathers still damp from someone else's sweat. Kale's reflection appears in the polished breastplate I'm adjusting. "Sleep well." He flips a dagger, my dagger, the one I left in my room, and buries it in the wall beside my head. "You should really lock your door." I don't give him the satisfaction of flinching. "Next time, knock." His smile is all teeth. "Oh, there won't be a next time." The warning bell tolls. Proctor Vermithrax strides in, dragging a struggling first year by the collar. "New drill. Dain versus." He tosses the boy forward. "This one, to the death." The cadet whimpers. He can't be more than 14. Kale leans close as I draw my sword. "Welcome to the real Blackcliff." Blood soaks the sand. Not the boy's, mine. A shallow cut along my ribs where I turned his desperate lunge aside at the last second. The kid trembles, his practice sword clutched in white-knuckled hands. Vermithrax baton taps impatiently. "Finish it, Dain." The courtyard watches. Kale smirks. Vermithrax's shadow darkens the eastern wall. I flip my blade and slam the pommel into the boy's temple. He drops like a stone. The proctor's disappointment is palpable. Sentiment will kill you faster than any blade. I wipe blood from my mouth. Then it's a good thing I have a dragon. Vermithrax's chuckle follows me from the yard. "Clever girl." But as I pass the bone library's iron gates, Taryn's warning echoes in my skull. "Ask him about the blood moon." Tonight, I vow. Tonight, I steal the truth. Chapter 6. Whispers in the Bone. The bone library's iron gates shriek like a dying thing. When I force them open, midnight oil lamps gutter in their sconces, casting flickering shadows across the arched ceiling. The library earns its name. Dragon skulls leer from every alcove, their hollow eye sockets watching as I creep between shelves of ancient scrolls. Somewhere above, Vermithrax circles, his wing beats shaking dust from the rafters. "This is foolish," his voice growls in my skull. I trail fingers along cracked leather spines. "Then why are you helping?" Silence. That's answer enough. The restricted section hides behind a door of yellowed rib bones. The lock yields to one of Kale's stolen picks. Fitting, since he's the reason I'm here. Inside, the air smells of old blood and older secrets. My stolen lantern illuminates shelves lined with ledgers, each labeled with a year and a list of names. The most recent bears Lyria's elegant script. I flip it open. Blood Moon Ceremony. The first page reads, "For the worthy, wings. for the unworthy ashes. The next page is missing. Torn out. Footsteps echo in the hall. I douse the lantern just as the door creaks open. Not Varek or the Night Watch. Kale moves with a predator's grace, his silhouette pausing at every shelf. Moonlight glints off the dagger in his hand. Looking for something, Dain? I hold my breath. He steps closer. I know you're here. The proctors will flay you alive for this. Behind him, a massive shadow blocks the window. Vermithrax's tail smashes through the stained glass. Kale whirls, just as I slam the ledger into his ribs. We crash into a shelf, bones shattering around us. His dagger grazes my cheek before I knee him in the gut. You're dead, he snarls. The dragon's claws close around us both, plucking us from the wreckage. Enough. Kale goes still in that grip. For the first time, I see real fear in his eyes. Vermithrax drops us on the roof. Wind howls through the broken window below as the alarm bell begins to toll. Kale scrambles back. She broke into restricted. I know. The dragon's gaze burns into me. Because I told her to. The lie shocks us both. Kale's face twists. You're protecting her? After Lyria? Vermithrax exhales smoke. Leave. Now. When Kale's footsteps fade, I hold up the ledger. Why did you really let me take this? The dragon's massive head lowers until we're eye to eye. Because the blood moon rises tomorrow night, and you need to know what happens to the riders they choose. The ledger's truth burns worse than dragon fire. Page after page of names, of cadets who vanished after their first blood moon, of Lyria's frantic notes about the hollowness in bonded dragons. And finally, the torn pages remnant. They're not choosing riders, they're choosing sacrifices. Dawn finds me back in my bunk, the ledger hidden beneath loose floorboards. Vermithrax's shadow darkens the window. Now you understand, he murmurs. I touch the fresh cut on my cheek, Kale's mark. We're all just meat for the grinder. The dragon's eye glints. Unless we grind first. Outside, the blood moon hangs low and heavy on the horizon. Waiting. Hungry. Chapter 7. The Hollow Crown. The blood moon hangs swollen over Blackcliff, painting the courtyard in shades of rust and old bruises. I stand with the other chosen riders in a loose circle, our dragons coiled around us like living fortresses. Vermithrax's scales burn hotter than usual against my back, his breath coming in short, controlled bursts. Remember, his voice rasps in my skull when the flames turn blue. Proctor Varek's ceremonial horn cuts him off. The man strides through the gathered cadets, his silver-chased baton dripping with fresh blood. Behind him trails a figure in tattered black robes. Headmaster Auric, his face hidden beneath a mask of dragon bone. Tonight, Varek announces, you become true riders. Kale catches my eye across the circle. For once, he isn't smirking. The ceremony begins with fire. One by one, the dragons breathe streams of crimson flame over their chosen riders. The cadets emerge unscathed, their skin glowing with temporary runes of protection. When Vermithrax's turn comes, his fire burns colder than usual. The real test comes next. He warns as the flames lick my skin. Headmaster Auric raises his arms. Now the binding. The dragons go rigid as one. Their eyes glaze over, jaws slackening. All except Vermithrax, who twitches violently before forcing himself still. Varek approaches the first pair with a ceremonial dagger. Blood calls to blood. I watch in horror as he slices both cadet and dragon, mingling their blood in a silver chalice. The moment the liquid touches the dragon's tongue, its pupils dilate into black, endless voids. Terran's scream snaps my attention left. Her dragon, a sleek blue female, has her pinned beneath one massive claw. The beast's nostrils flare as Varek approaches with the chalice. No, Terran thrashes. She doesn't want this. Varek backhands her. The binding is sacred. I step forward. Vermithrax's tail blocks my path. Wait, he hisses. Watch the flames. As Varek forces the blood down the blue dragon's throat, her fire turns an unnatural shade of cobalt. Just like in Lyria's notes. Kale appears at my elbow. They're coming for you next. His dragon, a massive silver brute, stands eerily still behind him, eyes already half-glazed. "You knew," I realize. His jaw tightens. "Not all of it." Varric turns toward us, chalice dripping. Behind his shoulder, Headmaster Auric removes his mask. My breath catches. The man has no face, just smooth, featureless skin stretched over bone. Vermithrax explodes into motion. His tail sweeps Varric's legs out from under him. The chalice goes flying, spilling corrupted blood across the stones. "Run," the dragon roars. Chaos erupts. The bound dragons snap their chains, their movements jerky and unnatural. Terran scrambles free as her blue dragon turns on the nearest cadet, maw gaping with that same eerie blue fire. Kale grabs my arm. The library, Lyria left. A jet of cobalt flame cuts him off. We dive in opposite directions as his own silver dragon lunges between us, eyes completely black. Vermithrax's claws close around me just as the first screams begin. From our vantage point above the courtyard, the horror unfolds in perfect clarity. The bound dragons turning on their riders, the headmaster's form shimmering like heat haze, the proctors herding panicked cadets into the path of the flames. Terran fights her way toward the armory. Kale vanishes into the smoke, and Varric stares up at us, his mouth moving in words I can't hear, until Vermithrax translates with a snarl. "You were supposed to be hollow too." We flee into the night, the academy burning below us. Vermithrax's wings beat hard against the rising thermals. "The library held only half the truth," he says as Blackcliff shrinks behind us. "The Hollow Crown doesn't just sacrifice riders." I clutch his spines tighter. "Then what?" "It eats dragons whole," he snarls. "And where's our skins?" The blood moon leers down, its light painting the mountains ahead the color of fresh wounds. Somewhere in that darkness, Kale and Terran are running, and something far worse is waiting. Chapter 8. Ashes and Embers. The mountains swallow us whole. Vermithrax flies through the night, his wing beats growing ragged as we leave Blackcliff's flames behind. The blood moon hangs low, painting the razorback peaks in shades of dried blood. I press my face against his scorched scales, the wind stealing my breath. "They'll hunt us," he growls. I don't need to ask who. The memory of those hollow-eyed dragons, moving like puppets on strings, chills me deeper than the altitude. Below us, a flash of silver darts between the trees. We land in a clearing where the pines grow too close together. My boots sink into ash. This place burned long ago. The silver flash resolves into Kale, dragging a barely conscious Terran. His dragon is nowhere in sight. "You." He draws his sword when he sees me. "This is your fault." Terran coughs blood. "Stop being an ass and help." Vermithrax snarls as I slide down. "Where's your beast, princeling?" Kale's blade doesn't waver. "Gone, like yours will be when the crown comes." The truth comes out in pieces as I bind Terran's burns. Kale knew about the binding, but not the hollow crown's true nature. His silver dragon, Valrix, fought the corruption long enough to throw him clear. Terran's blue female wasn't so lucky. "They're not dead," Kale insists, stoking a meager fire. "Just empty." Vermithrax's tail lashes. "Worse than dead." Terran's fingers dig into my wrist. "Lyria, she found a place." The map is burned into her palm, a crude brand of mountain ranges and a single marked valley. "Riders last," she whispers. "Where the unbound hide." Kale snorts. "A children's tale." "No." Vermithrax's nostrils flare. I smell them on the wind. Faint, but there. I trace the brand. "Why help us?" Terran's smile is all teeth. "Because the crown took my sister first." Dawn finds us climbing. The higher we go, the stranger the world becomes. Trees twist into grotesque shapes. Rocks hum when touched. Twice we find dragon skeletons picked clean, their skulls too large, their spines too long. Kale stops dead at a cliff's edge. That's impossible. The valley below shouldn't exist. A perfect circle of green amidst the jagged peaks, its center dominated by the ruins of an ancient arena. And there, sunning themselves on broken pillars, dragons, not hollow-eyed puppets, but vibrant, alert. Watching us, Vermithrax goes rigid. Impossible. A shadow detaches from the rocks ahead. A woman in patched rider's leathers, her face a web of scars. She levels a barbed spear at Kale's throat. Silver hair, she sneers. The crown's favorite pet. Kale doesn't reach for his sword. Alara. The name means nothing to me, but Vermithrax's shock reverberates through our bond. Lyria's sister, the scarred woman, Alara, leads us down into the valley under heavy guard. The unbound, riders watch with wary eyes. Their dragons are a motley assortment of colors and sizes, some missing limbs, others bearing the same eerie blue scars as Vermithrax. You shouldn't be here, Alara tells Kale. But since you are, she nods to a crumbling archway. She wants to see you. Beyond the arch, in a nest of old bones, lies Kale's silver dragon, Vermithrax, but not the hollow puppet we left behind. This Vermithrax's eyes are clear, intelligent, and filled with recognition. Little brother, the dragon rumbles. You took your time. Kale falls to his knees. Chapter 9. The Broken Bond. The moment Kale's knees hit the stone, the world fractures. Vermithrax stretches his massive silver neck, the movement stiff but deliberate, nothing like the hollow puppet we saw at Blackcliff. His claws flex against the bone-strewn floor, sending cracks, spiderwebbing through ancient dragon skulls. You look terrible, little brother. The dragon's voice is a rasp of wind through dead leaves. Kale's hands tremble where they hover over Vermithrax's scarred flank. Yorio. I exchange glances with Taryn. Her grip tightens on her dagger. Alara steps between us, her scarred face grim. They always come back to themselves here. Eventually, the truth unfolds like a bloodstained banner. Kale wasn't just any cadet. He was the Hollow Crown's perfect weapon, raised from childhood to bond with Vermithrax, the strongest of the Academy's dragons. But something went wrong, Alara says, sharpening her spear against the stone. The bond took too well. Vermithrax's tail twitches. I showed him memories of the before times, of what the crown truly is. Kale's fingers dig into his own arms hard enough to draw blood. They made me forget, made me think I'd imagined it all. Vermithrax circles the nest, his golden eyes narrowed. How long since the corruption lifted? 3 moons, Vermithrax says. I fought my way free during the last blood rite. Came here to heal. Kale makes a shattered sound. And left me with him? The silver dragon's massive head lowers until his snout presses against Kale's chest. You were my tether, little brother. The one thing that could lead me back when the time came. Taryn limps to a nearby spring, her burns still weeping. Lovely family reunion. Now tell us how to kill the fucking crown. Alara's smile is all edges. We don't. She leads us to the valley's heart. A crumbling amphitheater where riders train amidst broken statues of long-dead gods. At its center stands a stone basin filled with ash. I frown. Not just any ash. Alara dips her fingers in. Dragonbone, the only thing that can wound the hollow crown. Vermithrax recoils. Sacrilege. Survival, Alara corrects. She turns to Kale. You remember the stories. How the first riders bound the crown in dragonbone and buried it deep. Kale's face goes pale, but it woke up because Blackcliff built its foundations on the wrong grave. She tosses me a pouch of the ash. Now the crown wears our dead like suits of armor. Night falls with uneasy quiet. I find Kale at the valley's edge, staring toward the distant glow of Blackcliff's ruins. Vermithrax towers behind him, his silver scales catching the moonlight. You knew, I say softly. His hands flex. Not enough. Never enough. The wind carries screams from somewhere far away. Vermithrax finds me at dawn, his wings heavy with dew. They're coming. Below us, the sanctuary prepares for war. Riders coat blades in dragonbone ash. Dragons sharpen claws on ancient stone. Kale approaches, Vermithrax at his side. For the first time, there's no smirk, no taunt, just grim determination. One chance, he says. We hit the crown where it's weakest. Taryn tests the weight of an ash-coated spear. And where's that? Kale and Vermithrax answer as one. The Bone Library. Final 10. The Hollow Heart. The Bone Library burns. We land amidst chaos. Blackcliff's remaining loyalists battle hollow-eyed dragons in the courtyard, their swords useless against corrupted scales. The sky churns with smoke and distant screams. Vermithrax touches down first, Cale already leaping from his back with an ash-coated blade in each hand. Remember, Vermithrax growls as I slide down his wing. The crown's power is in the lies it tells. Look past them. Taryn lands beside us, her borrowed spear gleaming with dragonbone dust. Where's the bastard hiding? The library doors explode outward. Headmaster Auric steps through the wreckage, except it's not Auric anymore. The faceless thing wearing his skin has grown into its disguise poorly. The flesh sags like melted wax, dripping from two sharp cheekbones. Where its mouth should be, there's only a jagged slit stretching ear to ear. Riven of House Dain. Its voice is a chorus of dead riders. You were meant to be hollow by now. Behind it, the library's skulls rattle in their alcoves. The air smells of burning parchment and rotting meat. Cale steps forward, blades raised. We know what you are. The crown laughs with Lyria's voice. The battle is a blur of ash and agony. Taryn's spear finds the throat of a corrupted blue dragon, her own former bondmate. Cale and Vermithrax duel a monstrous black elder whose flames have turned to liquid shadow. I face the crown alone. It moves like smoke, reforming each time Vermithrax's claws tear through its flesh. You cannot kill a story, it whispers, elongating into a towering mimicry of Vermithrax himself. I hurl a pouch of dragonbone, ash, into its gaping maw. Then let me rewrite the ending. The crown shrieks, a sound that cracks the library's foundations. Its form unravels, revealing glimpses of something older, a writhing mass of stolen faces, dragon scales stitched together with sinew, a core of pulsing black light. Vermithrax pins it with his talons. Now, I plunge Cale's ash-drenched dagger into the hollow heart. The explosion of light and memory is unbearable. Centuries flash by, the first riders binding the crown, the slow corruption of Blackcliff, Lyria discovering the truth and paying the price, and last, clearest of all, Vermithrax's first desperate act of rebellion, choosing me. When the light fades, only dust remains. Dawn finds us in the ruins. Cale tends to Vermithrax's wounds while Taryn sifts through the library's surviving scrolls. The remaining hollow dragons have collapsed, their corruption lifted with the crown's death. Vermithrax nudges a half-burned ledger toward me with his snout. Yours to fill now. I trace the blank pages. Not alone. Across the courtyard, Cale meets my gaze and nods. We rebuild differently this time. The Academy's true name is carved above the gates. Atratum sanguine, the bloodied wings. Taryn trains new riders in the art of ash weapons. Cale and Vermithrax scout for surviving fragments of the crown. And Vermithrax? He suns himself on the rebuilt towers, grumbling about the noise, but never flying far. Someone has to keep you mortals from burning the place down again, he says when I tease him. I lean against his warm scales, watching the horizon, waiting, ready. The end.